Amazing. Well, thank you all for joining us today for our Rooted in Growth fireside chat with founding member and CEO at Amika, Chelsea Riggs, and Cory Varona, co-founder of OCOA Beauty. Rooted in Growth is Amika's mentorship and grant program for emerging hair care founders. It is absolutely one of my favorite programs we have created here at Amika, and one of the ways Amika takes actionable steps towards increasing equity in the beauty industry. So let's get right into it. Chelsea, you're a founding member of Amika, which means you are one of the very first team members. You've seen the brand grow from humble roots to what it is today. Can you share a bit about Amika's own journey of being an emerging hair care brand?
Um, that journey is quite long and pretty intense, so we'll keep it short and sweet. We were started by industry outsiders. I joined the founders about a year or so into starting Amika. At the time, we only had hair tools, and we then launched hair care, I think about a year or two later. So we had no idea pretty much what we were doing. But we all came from different backgrounds. And ironically, a lot of us came from different parts of the fashion world. Our co-founder and creator of the brand name and packaging, Vita, came from the branding world. So we had a lot to support us there. But when we got into the industry, it was very hard to figure it all out, right? We didn't know even just distribution rules of like, you can't mix Target and Sephora, and how to get into professional was an entirely different world on its own and its own group of people and network. So that was really challenging. And we did a lot of things at the time that made sense for us, and actually in the end really made sense for the brand because we didn't know how it was done. So we just did things as we thought they felt right for us and for our business. And that actually ended up being a way that we paved the way forward for a lot of things. One of them being, this omni-channel distribution with professional, with premium retail, among other things. And a few years ago, I wanted to find a way to be able to impart this knowledge and help other founders, because I felt that there were tons of retail brands launching, mass, premium, across skincare, makeup, fragrance, and hair was ironically one of the biggest beauty categories when you look at mass and prestige together, but had the least amount of innovation and had the least amount of emerging brands, and was dominated by most of the big companies with the exception of a few of us who are still independent. And having gone through it ourselves, realized, well, that could be because it's quite difficult to figure out. So how can we take what we've managed to do and help other founders along the way? And that kind of birthed this idea of doing a mentorship program.
I love that. You're the embodiment of that saying, as you rise, lift others, because that was my next question. Why was starting a mentorship program for emerging hair care founders important to you? So thank you for sharing that with us. Cory, can you tell us about your brand, OCOA Beauty? And I must say, you are rocking the curls today.
Always. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Cory, and this is a sister-led company. It's my sister Nicole and I. And we started Ocoa because of our own struggles with our curly hair. Similar to like what Chelsea said, that there was not many brands, independent brands. When we were looking for products that will work well on our curls, we ended up finding products that were just doing the bare minimum with ingredients, and were just weighing down our curls. So when we were in that transition moment where we said, we're going to stop thinking that our hair is pelo malo, which means bad hair in Spanish, and we're going to create it ourselves, and based on our own experiences, and also just by looking for other ingredients that were not commonly used in curly hair care. And that's how Ocoa was formed. It's all inspired by our island in the Dominican Republic. I'm from the Dominican Republic, so all the ingredients are inspired by our island. and also representation for Latinas and multicultural women who have wavy and curly hair. So for us, it's a very, very personal project. We love it, and it's a community of hermanas that continue to grow.
Love that. I spent a lot of time in the Dominican Republic growing up, and pelo malo, pelo bueno, it's such a thing. So I love seeing you and all of your hermanas rocking your gorgeous, beautiful curls. So your co-founder is your sister Nicole, and you all are mentorship warriors. You've applied to so many and participated in quite a few. I know we have a few founders tuning in today and would love to know, why do you invest your time into these programs? What difference have they made for your business?
Yeah, very similar to the Amika story. We are also industry outsiders, and we were learning everything within, with our own research and also just with our passion and desire to do something different. But if it wasn't because of programs like the Amika Rooted in Growth, like we wouldn't really learn directly from industry experts like Chelsea and her team, who have done this and who are paving the way for brands like ours to continue to grow. So I think for us it's very important to receive that mentorship because we didn't come from the industry. And I think talking to brands that you one day aspire to be, and just learning directly from them, it's such a meaningful part and process that we just love to be part of. Also, just talking to other founders who are in the same stage as us, asking for questions, for help and advice, is so meaningful. And also, we're self-funding the company. So these companies are so generous and they're giving grants to help us continue to grow. And I think part of that just shows their commitment to see other brands grow and be successful.
Love that. It's so important to get directions from people who have been and are going where you want to go.
Absolutely.
Um, Chelsea, as we've touched on, Amika is salon raised. Can you share a bit more about Amika's salon history and why the decision was made to craft the grant program for brands specifically looking to get into pro distribution?
So we started in the salon industry when we started the brand. It was felt a natural connection because the brand has always been inspired by artistry and creativity and this element of self-expression. And that um, originally was part of our tool assortment. So we were one of the first brands to put patterns on hair tools at the time. And if you think back to that time, you'd walk around the mall and be able to get even a phone case with, something that was really personalized and connected to how you wanted to express yourself. And we saw that opportunity within hair tools. It was a natural connection with stylists because stylists are artists and creatives as well, and wanting to also have that element of this personal expression. I mean, it's a tool that you use all day, every day, and can be a conversation starter as well, right? Like just like a good pair of shoes can be a conversation starter. And so that was how we naturally entered into the industry, doing it by attending like trade shows that were particularly open to cosmetologists, students as well, cosmetology students. And that allowed us to really connect to the stylist and understand the business and also see the landscape of what the options were from a hair care perspective. We had a group of, I'll call them editorial celebrity stylists. We're based in New York. So we made a lot of connections over the first few years, doing a lot with Fashion Week and photo shoots. And a lot of these stylists were constantly asking us for product. We love your hair tools, but it'd be great if we had styling product to go with it. So we started developing, and that's where we have our hair care range, which is all based on sea buckthornberry. And our first few products were styling products. And that really had a launch pad for us because we looked at the industry from a different perspective and realized most of the brands on the market were part of like a bigger corporation. They had like a singular person, usually like a celebrity hairdresser figure. And it was this very like top down approach to the industry, to products, to trends. And we saw an opportunity to have it the reverse, right? Like community driven. All the products that we've made are because our community asks us. And we've had this connection to stylists since those beginning days that we've built up over time. But it was really challenging, super, super challenging to get the brand out there because one, we didn't have a lot of money. We found a couple of pockets of ways to increase our brand awareness, get products in people's hands, these trade shows. But at the end of the day, the way that you scale is through distribution. And the distribution landscape in the US and in many markets is quite fragmented. And it was really challenging because a lot of them are family owned. And to be able to convince them to bring in amika, they may have a conflict of interest or another brand that's bigger for them that has a lot more of a power play and prevents them from bringing in new brands like amika. So all of that, all those years of struggling to really make it in the professional industry. And today we're a top 5 brand in the professional market, which is really exciting. So to be able to pave that forward, and of course the market has changed along the way, and impart that knowledge, I saw that as a big opportunity because the professional industry, when you look at hair care and you look at what you can find in retail, whether that's masstige, premium versus professional, I find that the professional market is still very segmented, right? It's segmented into types of salons, and it's also segmented on the distribution side. And that can make it quite challenging as an emerging founder because you have to work with a lot smaller distributors, which, takes more time, takes more resources. So we wanted to find a way that we could also make connections to our distributors, and also have that almost like a leapfrog of here are all the things you need to do to prepare yourself to be successful in the professional, as opposed to finding it out the hard way, which is what we did, and help accelerate the path forward so that we can see more of an inclusive landscape of brands in professional specifically.
Cory, I see you nodding for that leapfrog.
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea, as we had so many applicants. What stood out to you about OCOA Beauty? Why did we choose them?
This process is extremely hard. I'll just say that. Chian, you were there as well, going through it. You want to help everybody. And, at the end of the day, we had very specific goals. And the first one being what we just talked about, which is that element of professional. And OCOA had some natural outreach from stylists and salons who wanted to carry their brand. And, there was a lot of unknowns of we're interested, but how do we do that? And I thought that could be a great opportunity to help them. But also I remember this very strong brand storytelling, sisters, this Dominican Republic heritage, and linking that to a really robust and interesting ingredient story, the personal struggle to find products for their specific hair and curl type. But the one that really stood out to me was that multi-language component of the packaging. I loved how that was not only a nod to the brand storytelling itself and everything I just said, but also this accessibility piece as well, right? That you turn it over and in one way it's in English and another way it's in Spanish. So I just thought that was really insightful and clever. So there were a lot of different elements to it. And, you had been doing it for a while. You had recently relaunched, had gone through packaging. So you were far enough along to not be in the very, very beginning ideation stage where we could still help you and give and impart a lot of knowledge, but also far enough along that you weren't going to be starting from scratch.
Thank you.
Yay. We were really intentional in how we structured the program, specifically about pairing capital with knowledge. Can you share more about that decision making with us, Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be transparent. This was an idea that we had for a couple of years. When you're an emerging brand, fast growing, going from bootstrapping and startup to this big growth phase, everyone's super busy and running around like chickens with their heads cut off, right? Do we have the time to actually do this? And so we did take our time to flesh out this program. Gian was a huge part of it as well. And I remember having a conversation with you that, I had this personal passion to be able to share this knowledge. And Gian also said, you know, knowledge without capital is, one thing, and capital without knowledge is another. And I think, if we can combine the two together, and we have a really winning program, and given, Amika's desire for giving back a percentage of our profits to causes that we care about and progressing the beauty industry, it made sense to have both go together. Because you're growing a business. This is a lot of time that you put into it. Of course, you're investing in yourself, but that's also taking time away from you working on the business, and being able to help alleviate a little bit as much as we can.
Thank you for sharing that. And Cory, what impact did that have on your business? I know you've done a lot of programs, but that pairing, what did that do for OCOA?
Yeah, I mean, I think from the beginning, as soon as we saw the opportunity of your program by Amika, it was just a no-brainer. We wanted to be part of it because every other program that we were part of before were more of a broadened, like more industry, like different industries together, not really specifically for beauty or hair per se. So we wanted to be a part of because we wanted to learn more specifics on from the hair industry, and the fact that the program actually allows the Amika team to talk to us. Like every time that we had a class, we learned something specific that was so perfect for that, for our growth and for what we needed to learn. So there's just so many different things that I find this program to be so great for emerging hair care brands, not only learning from the team and different aspects of what you need to grow the business, but also having someone like Chelsea have one-on-one conversations and share the story of how, everything started. And it just brings you, back to that, that moment. And you're like, oh my gosh, like they went through the same things that we're going now. And it just makes it so relatable. And also pairing ourselves, you pair ourselves with like a mentor from the company and having those conversations with them and having one-on-ones. And then lastly, the actual in-person piece of it, which for us was huge. Having, conversations on the computer and then meeting them in person, meeting the fantastic team, seeing them work. It was our very first opportunity to go to a hair show, and we went, with the Amika team. That was huge. Walking the show with Chelsea, she was explaining everything. Having that mentorship, not only virtual but also in person, creates a huge and valuable opportunity for any brand that is looking to grow.
I love that. Brown Brothers was actually my first hair show too, and it's something, right? I loved
Yeah.
it. But you touched on this a bit, Cory. You mentioned that this program was the only one that was specific to hair care. So can you expand on that a bit and how worthwhile that was?
Yeah, I think the fact that you're learning from another hair care brand that is so successful and that it's growing and is independent still, learning from the industry experts is technically what you want. I mean, a lot of programs are basically they have a curriculum that is more about learning, growing the business, and it's not really specifically about what you need at the moment. For example, for us, learning about supply chain and packaging, and also how to be distributed for a distribution for salons versus a retail. Just learning those specific things from the team, having each team prepare a presentation, going into details of what it takes. That for us is valuable, and it's just information that you are not able to get otherwise. So for us, I mean, having that aspect, and then the fact that you're allowing brands that are all between hair care and having the founders that are doing the same thing, I think that creates a huge impact. And like Chelsea said, she wants to see more brands. She wants to see the hair care aisle to be more diverse. And I think the only way to do that is to share the knowledge and to help other emerging brands who need to learn these steps in order for them to move and grow.
Thank you for sharing that. Again, I know we have so many founders tuning in, time, money, all the resources are tight. So really want them to understand if the program is for them because we want them to apply.
Yeah.
So Cory, I know this might be hard, but what was your top takeaway from the program?
Oh my gosh. I liked everything, but I think for me it would have been meeting Chelsea in person and walking the show with her and getting to learn and see the Amika team in action at a trade show. That was awesome. I think, also meeting the other founders in person, talking to them, it just kind of made us a full circle and completed the entire experience. I think everything that we learned, we were able to just see it in person, meet people in person, and just share that. I mean, everybody's so committed. You can tell that the Amika team is so committed to this program, and they want to see other brands grow. You can see how everybody's so friendly. For me, the Amika team is the most amazing team ever. Everybody's just so friendly. They're really amigos or amigas. They're really that Amika vision and mission. All everybody and is part of it, and I just feel like that kind of just completed a full circle for me.
We love that. Amiga means friend. So amigo o amigas, yes. Adding on that question, but slightly different. What part of the partnership made the most impact in driving your business?
Well, besides obviously the mentorship and everything, but also the funding. Um, I think the business, and we needed it at that moment. We needed that capital, but I mean, I think it's just learning directly. Like, I mean, we were able to ask so many questions that otherwise we wouldn't be able to find out to the team. It was just, I feel like, different aspects of the program. Like every week was so intentional, and the way that the program was, I mean, I don't know how you guys came up with the curriculum, but I think it was, for me, it was very intentional how every week there was something that we learned and we were able to use that directly, and then use the funds in a way that was very more strategic. So I think I overall, like, learning every week something new, every month that we would learn something new. And then we were able to have a conversation. So we would have a presentation and we would have a conversation. And I think that really made it even more impactful because you actually had particular questions in regards to that presentation that you just learned. And then, having even financials, looking at your financials, talking to Amika CFO, and be able to, like, look at your trajectory, like look at where you're going. All of that is so valuable. We don't, as founders, that, we're small companies, we don't get the opportunity to have someone evaluate things like that. So I think everything was very intentional, and you guys thought about how you could help the brand grow.
Yeah. For those curious, we did monthly group mentorship sessions with our department heads, such as our CFO, Scott, and then each brand was able to dive deeper into their specific brand needs with one-on-ones, again, with our department heads. Now, Chelsea, for 2024, we have doubled our impact. So can you share a bit more about us taking the grant from 25K to 50K?
I messed up the saying before, that capital and knowledge go hand in hand, and having the knowledge but no capital to act on is really hard. And then also at the same time, if you have the money, and we met founders like that in the process that didn't necessarily need the money as much, but needed the mentorship, and not having that understanding can also be a costly mistake. And we wanted to make this program bigger, better. Our inaugural year was great, but there were a lot of learnings from that. How do we continue on? And we could do that in two ways. We could double the companies that are involved, but also that's a challenge on our side of things as well. And really being able to have what Cory explained was the biggest takeaway for her was that one-on-one time, this actual person sitting down weekly and giving that advice, and being that, support system for questions, and being able to have that very high touch was something really important to maintain. And at the end of the day, our business is growing and doing better. We have the opportunity to continue to make a bigger impact. Let's increase the funds. $25,000, is amazing, but also it's nothing at the same time, right? When you're building a business, like, given how expensive nearly everything is today, and being able to continue to test and learn with those funds, and having a little bit more leeway to do that, were just, a couple of the things that we thought of, and felt like, let's do a bigger grant, and let's keep the program size the same. And hopefully, as our company expands and grows, and we have the opportunity to bring on a few more companies in it as well, will be great too.
Love it. And Cory, for your fellow founders who are tuning in, what recommendations do you have for anyone who's thinking about applying?
For me, it's just be yourself. I think Nicole and I, like Chelsea mentioned, we like to really go into details with our storytelling and what makes us unique. I think if you are yourself, and you stop comparison, and stop sharing what everybody wants to say, and you completely be authentically you, is gonna really showcase in your application, and there's gonna be that item that is going to make everybody else see why you're different. I think in this industry, you just want to try to bring that uniqueness to your brand, uniqueness to your either formulation, your story, whatever it is you're doing different. What's your secret sauce? And just showcase that, and also showcase that you're very passionate about it. That for us, we breed OCOA, we bleed OCOA, everything is surrounded OCOA. And we really try to tell the story every time that we share, with an application or another program. We try to tell that story as to why we're doing it, and why are you specifically qualified to do it. Tell them, like, share why you're the person to find this solution and solve this problem. So I think it's just being that. And I know it's easier said than done, but definitely just try to like bring your heart out and showcase why you're doing what you're doing.
I love that. What's that saying? Comparison is the thief of all joy. It's
Oh
so true.
yeah.
And Chelsea, what's your advice for founders who are interested in applying?
I love what Cory said. It does come down to what makes your brand, founder, the whole entire story unique and differentiated. It is also good at the same time to have an understanding of the landscape and what's out there and what you would be up against, because that also informs how you are able to really stand out, but be crystal clear on that piece, because there is no shortage of people who, want to build a beauty brand. There are even big companies who are trying to build and incubate new brands as well. So I think having that really authentic, differentiated story is huge. Specifically for our program, a lens in which we looked at, because there were so many great companies that applied, and there were so many companies that we gave additional mentorship hours to, just to impart some knowledge as best as we could, even if they weren't accepted into the program, mostly because we look for companies that have an ambition or some sort of connection to why salon professionals will be the right channel for the product and for the brand. And that has to, as I said before with Cory and Nicole, there was that authentic connection from stylist to their brand. But also when we talked about, the curly hair salon community, and there was just so many things there that I felt this channel would certainly be beneficial, and we would be able to share that knowledge. And there's a lot of programs now, great. There's a lot of, mentorship programs out there, small business. There's even some specific to beauty, right? And they're with retailers. But there are none that are focused specifically on the professional industry. And so wanting to continue to make an impact there as a salon raised brand and ensure that that particular aspect of the industry continues to grow, be more diverse, be more inclusive, and also invest in innovation and technology for stylists, because we believe in the future of the hair business does start with hair professionals.
Love it. And Chelsea, this might be a hard question for you, but what was your favorite part of the program?
I think my favorite part is Cory's as well. I was surprised. I think we just get so used to being in a digital world, talking to each other on camera all the time, and it's great. We can get a lot done, right? You can have all these meetings back to back, and you don't have to travel as much. But when we all met for the first time in person after spending months on the phone and, being able to just have that one-on-one connection was something that, I don't know, it just like really changed how the program felt. And it was a great way to end it. And because of that, we're trying to have more in-person opportunities for this next one, actually like kicking off the program in person, which will be really great. It's also an opportunity for everyone to meet their mentors one-to-one and have that personal connection before, having a bunch of phone calls. So yeah, I have the same one as Cory.
And I love that it's an ongoing relationship, right? We've gotten to see Cory multiple times since the program ended. I
I
think
see
that's,
everything she posts on
yeah,
social.
it's really beautiful. So Cory, we're big believers in community and building connections. Amika does mean friend after all. I'm curious if that came through to you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think for us, that networking piece, the fact that we were able to talk to the team, um, our shout out to our mentor Danny and Sodasi. They were amazing. We still very connected to them. And then, everybody else from the team, I mean, we were able to ask a lot of questions. Everybody answered our questions. So it's just creating your network and just growing as you see, your mentors, and they can help you along the way. Like Chelsea mentioned, if we post something, they celebrate, our achievements. If Amika does something, we celebrate theirs. I mean, it's just that ongoing. I think for us, we'll see Amika as an ongoing relationship, and it's something that founders need to really see as part of the business too. Like if you want to grow, you need to be connected with other people. You need to network. You need to learn from others. You need to listen from others, because part of growing is making sure that you're not making mistakes and you're not continuing to make the same mistakes. So applying what other people have done is valuable and is instrumental for you to grow. So networking and creating that friendship with others will really, really open up so many doors for you.
Yeah, you absolutely do not and should not do it alone. Go it alone.
Never.
Chelsea, closing us out, what both for Amika and our programs such as the Rooted in Growth program?
Cut out a little bit in the beginning. I think my Wi-Fi is a little spotty.
Oh.
What makes you excited for the program and
Mhm.
for years ahead? I this for me, I love the brand. I love the team. I love the company. This has been the highlight of my life. Like I've been doing this for 15 years, building this business. But, and in fairness, for a long time, like very heads down, focused on the business and keeping it running, keeping, people's jobs, getting it to the place that it is today. And it's really exciting that, we can leave a lasting impact on the industry, not just from the brand that we created, but this purpose that we have. And it gives me personally more to look forward to in what we can actually do with this business. I mean, of course, it makes an impact on people's lives when you find products that work for you and make you feel confident and don't make you feel like you have bad hair, right? that is huge. Being able to have the representation and to see yourself in the marketing and doing that work, also huge. But being able to lift up other people as part of it is something that I'm personally passionate about. My team is really passionate about. And I think that, came out to Cory and other founders as they got involved with them, and being able to impart their own knowledge in their specific part of the business. So that makes me really excited, because I think that's what has the ability to have, a legacy for a brand, and, not just cool products.
Yeah, absolutely. And your passion, it shines through. We all feel it. And Cory, your passion for your community, your brand, both you and Nicole's, it absolutely shines through. Thank you both for being here today, for opening up and sharing about Amika's Rooted in Growth program. And thank you to everyone tuning in today. Our applications do close next Friday, August 16th. So please apply and/or share with any emerging hair care founders that you know. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.